Hello ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to put together a burrito bowl, and we're going to do it my way. There's going to be a few different things we're going to package in our package for this. And to start off with, I made up a batch of my Mexican rice. Now what I'll do is I'll drop a link to the original video on how I make this rice. It was last week's video. In the comments below, I'll pin it to the top. And the only thing different I did with this rice is I did not add the black beans. But everything else is the same with that rice recipe. So I made one batch of that, and that is here, getting ready to go in the freezer. And now we're going to go ahead and start with our protein. And to start off with, I want to, let's put this on maximum start. We're going to grill up some onions. So I'm just going to put a splash of oil in there. And I have one large yellow onion that I have chopped up. All right, let's get that fried up. All right, we did that for a few minutes, and I don't know if you can see that, but there's a little bit of browning to those onions. They're starting to get translucent. So I got 2 pounds of, this is was on sale, so I got this 85% lean ground beef. We're going to throw that in with the onions. And get this all browned up. Alright. That was easy enough. So I got this all browned up now. I'm going to take it over and drain this, and I'll be right back. Alright, there we go. That is all drained up. Now what I have here is 2 cans, 15.5 ounce cans of red beans. Normally I would use kidney beans, but kidney beans don't rehydrate very well from freeze dried, and I found that red beans rehydrate really nicely, so we'll be using red beans. 2 cans of those that I have rinsed and drained. I'm going to mix those in with our ground beef. Alright, that's looking good. Now what I did, I went to buy some taco seasoning, and I saw this canister of El Paso taco seasoning mix, and I thought, I'll try that stuff instead of buying the packets. I'm not sure if you really save a lot of money on that or not, but we're going to use 1/4 cup of this taco seasoning, or you would use probably 1 packet. I'm not using 2 packets since we have 2 pounds of beef, because I don't want to over spice it. We've got spice in our rice and that, and our toppings are going to have some kick to it, so I'm going to put 1 packet or 1/4 cup of taco seasoning in with this, and 3/4 cup of water. Put that on medium high. Press start. Get that all mixed in there. Now we're going to let that simmer for about 3 minutes or so, and that water stroke seasoning should thicken up a little bit. So we're just going to keep this on heat until it gets nice and thick. Not when you pull it apart, it's all water running. Right. That didn't take long at all. It's nice and coated in that lightly seasoned taco sauce. So let's go ahead and turn this off. Alright. And let's dish it up. Pounds. We're going to look for 2.5 pounds per tray. Alright, that's one tray of 2 pounds. I better wait and make sure I got enough for 2 trays of 2 pounds at least. Should do with 2.5 pounds of beef and then almost 2 pounds of beans and then the onions. We'll see, but what we're going to do is if we don't have enough, I'll be back. Okay, we did not have enough. So, we got 1.67 pounds there and 2 pounds there, a difference of 33.33 of a pound. So we half that, be 0.15, 0.16, about 0.16 of a pound. I need to take from here and put in here. So if my math is correct, that's 1.84. Let's see what this one is. 1.81. That's good enough. That is good enough. All right. Let's put our dividers in there. There we have it. So now we got 1 tray of rice, 2 trays of protein, which is my beans and ground beef. And we're going to have one more. I have the 4th slot freeze dryer. So for that 4th slot, we'll be putting in some other stuff. But I'm going to let this cool down. Then we'll get this in the freezer, get that frozen solid, and I'll come back for the other 2 or 3 toppings that we're going to do. I'll see you then. Okay, let's do our cheese topping. Now I got a can of this Rico's Gourmet Nacho Cheddar Cheese Sauce, and it is 15 ounces. We're going to put this in a bowl, a microwave safe bowl, and I got half a cup of water here. We want to water this down so that when we freeze dry it, it's very easy to powder, because I find with this cheese sauce that it rehydrates better from a nice fine powder. So we're going to want to powderize it before we rehydrate it. So I put 1/4 cup of their water in there roughly. You could use milk, but I don't have any milk right now, no fresh milk, so I'm just using water. And we're going to heat this up in the microwave and get this all blended. I'll do it in short bursts. Alright, that's 30 seconds. Burn it for another 30. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put the whole half a cup in here because it's not thin enough for me. I'm going to do it for another 30 seconds. Well, I don't want to water it down anymore. Mainly because of the room that I got in my freeze dryer, because I want to try and get this all done in one freeze dryer load. So let's just try it with that. Half a cup of water, and then we warmed it up for about 1.5 minutes in 30-second bursts, stirring well after each one. Now I got these molds. They're little squares. I picked these up at Hobby Lobby. And we want 20 squares. We're making 10 meals, so we kind of want 20. I don't know if I'm going to get 20. We'll see. We'd like to have 20 squares, because I got my 20 squares, which is perfect. Very happy with that. All right, so there we got 22 squares. We use our 2 for a test rehydrating. All right, so I'm going to get these in the freezer, get them frozen solid. Once these are frozen solid, I'm going to pop them out and put them on the tray. And that's because I need to make room for some salsa and some sour cream. So I will come back for the salsa and sour cream once these are frozen solid. See you then. All right, let's go ahead and do our salsa for our burrito bowls. And I'm just going to pour out of this chunky salsa big jar I got. Again, we're going to want about 20 squares, I think. Would be 2 squares per meal. So I'm just going to fill up 20 of these squares. Alright, there's 20 of those with a couple of extra. We'll get those into the freezer. I got one more thing to do. I'll be right back. Alright, so ready to start on our last ingredients for our burrito bowl, and that's going to be our Crema Mexicana. I decided to go that route instead of the traditional sour cream. We'll see how it works. Now I'm only going to put 10 squares of this in. 1 square per meal. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. You have seen everything. I got 10 squares plus 2. I'm doing 2 extra just to give me something to play with for my reconstitution. And so we'll get this in the freezer, get it frozen solid, along with my salsa, my rice, my ground beef, and beans. We'll get this all frozen up solid and into the freeze dryer. Next time you see it, I think I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to handle, because I only got 4 slots, how we're going to get all these little squares to fit into those 4 slots. So we're going to do a little bit of juggling there, but we'll get there and I'll come back for that. All right, I'll see you then. Okay, I just wanted to cut in here, show you how we ended up layering these out. I got most of them on 1 square. I got 20 of the salsa and 4, 8, 16, 18 of the cheese, and my 10 sour cream. The leftovers I went ahead and put on this one of these protein trays, because if you recall, they were under 2 pounds. I think it was, if I remember right, it's 1.8 pounds. So I just layered these on top there, and shouldn't be no problem with that. So I'm going to get these back in the freezer. I am ready to fire up the freeze dryer, and next time you see it, it'll all be coming out. I'll see you then. All right, there is my 40 hours in the freeze dryer. My protein with my few extra squares up there of toppings, my rice, and my toppings. So let's get to packaging. Now these, the cheese, the salsa, and the cream is very, very airy, and it is kind of humid. So I am going to go ahead and get these packaged up temporarily first. I'm just going to drop them in my Ziploc bags, go ahead and zip them shut for now, and get them out of the atmosphere really quick. Okay, so I kind of got those all Ziploc shut and get them out of the atmosphere. Very important when it's humid. So I have the double meal pouch that I'm going to be using for this meal, and in it we are going to put 2 squares of protein, just like that. We're going to set that aside. So let me get these divided out real quick and I'll be right back. Alright, so we got that all in the bags. Let's do our rice. I got these little, I guess they're about a pint-sized bag. I've had them for ages. Not quite 5 mil or 7 mil thick. I think they're more like 5 mil. They are gusseted. I don't use them because they're really hard to get into. But since we're going to be putting so much in that bag, I figured I'd just get rid of these. So we're going to put 1 square in each rice bag. and I'll be right back. Okay, we're getting there. I'm going to take 10 O2 absorbers, a package of 10, and we are going to put one of these in each rice pouch. Now, these are thinner pouches, and putting that rice in there, I might or may not have, because rice freeze-dried is very poked holes in that, but I'm not worried about it because we're going to be including this in our other pouch. So I'm going to go ahead and drop one pouch in there and Ziplock it shut. Really is no need to heat seal this. It's just redundant because it's going to be going inside a heat sealed bag. So I'm going to take that and I'll take our meal pouch that has our protein in it. We're going to drop this in with the protein and set it off to the side. So I'll get that done and I'll be right back. All right, there we go. So each pouch now has the protein and one pouch of Ziplock shut rice with an O2 absorber in the rice. So now we just need to take our salsa, and I'm going to open these pouches, unzip them, so that our O2 absorber can do its job on these while they're in the pouch. So we're going to just take those, unzip the Ziploc, roll it up kind of nice to where we can tuck it into the pouch. Just like that. And go ahead and set that off to the side. All right, so now it's getting pretty crowded in there, but we got everything in there. We got protein, which is my ground beef and beans in the big pouch. We got a small pouch of rice. We got sour cream. We got salsa, and we got cheese, all in one pouch. Now we need to just put our O2 absorber into the large pouch. So in one goes. We'll go ahead and zip that shut. Get it ready for the heat seal. So I'll be back to seal them up once I get them packaged. All right, so we got those all packaged up, and I'm going to do a full disclosure here. For me, this is way overkill. I would have just made a casserole, mixed it all together, and rehydrated it from one pouch. But for the video, this should plate up much prettier, and I could see there being an occasion where you'd want everything nice and separate and make it look pretty to eat, but in a survival situation, I wouldn't care. I would want the flavor, and I would just combine it all together and save a lot on the packaging cost and a lot on the time spent packaging it and rehydrating it, because we got to rehydrate all that separately too. So that's just full disclosure. I don't mind doing it occasionally for you guys on the video, but that is really not how I would pack it. I would make a casserole and every one of those ingredients would have been included, and then I would have just freeze-dried it all as a casserole and then packaged it in one envelope, rehydrated it in one envelope, got all that beautiful flavor, but not the eye appeal. So for this video, we're doing eye appeal. So I got the heat sealer heating up, so I'll be back in a minute and we'll get these sealed up. All right, go Light has gone out, telling me it's ready to seal. All right, there we go. Set that off to the side. So we'll leave these out for a couple days, make sure everything stays nice and sealed, and then we'll put it away for long-term storage. And I will be back probably later today, I think, to have one of these for dinner. So I'll see you when we rehydrate my burrito bowls. All right, it is time for dinner. So we're going to have my burrito bowl. All right, let's see what we got. There is my sour cream, my salsa, and my cheese, and my rice, my O2 absorber, and my protein. So, let's see. How are we going to do this? We're going to I put 2 squares of protein in here. So we're going to put about a half of a cup of water. Go ahead and zip that shut. Set that off to the side. And we got the rice, which I put an O2 absorber in, and Ziplocks shut. We didn't heat seal that. And I'm going to put 1 square, which was 1/4 of a cup of water. And we might add a little bit more to that. But I don't want soggy rice, so we'll start out with 1/4 of a cup. Okay. Now, my cheese, there's 2 squares here. I'm going to go ahead and crumble those up into a nice powder. And out in the field, I could rehydrate it right in the pouch. But for the video's purpose, we're going to go ahead and do that in my little dishes here. Same with my salsa. Crumble that up. It just rehydrates. The stuff rehydrates better if you got it powderized. That is just a fact of freeze drying. So we had 2 squares of cheese, 2 squares of salsa, and 1 square of my Mexican crema, which is kind of like sour cream, but it don't have the bitterness or sour taste of sour cream. Now it's just 1 square. So we got some hot water here. We'll go ahead and put hot water. We're just going to do this by eyeballs. We'll put a splash in there. Give that a stir. That is getting kind of close. So we'll let that sit for a bit. We might end up putting a little more water in that. Maybe get a couple more spoons. We don't contaminate. Now we got some cold water here. We're going to do the same thing with our salsa, with the cold waters. Just a splash in there. Little splashes at a time. This is looking pretty good. Put that off the side. And we'll take our cold water and add it to our powdered crema. That is looking a bit grainy right now, but it's about the right consistency. So we are going to let that sit while we work with our meal here. Alright, so first of all, let's open up our rice to see how that's getting on. I didn't time it, but I would say that's about 2 minutes. Yeah, that definitely needs more water. So we're going to put the rest of that hot water in there. Give that a stir. Zip that shut. Let's give our beef and beans, if I can get it open, a stir. Oh yeah, that's looking good. All right, let's get that, seal that back up. We'll just, for the sake of consistency, we will start my timer. Let that sit for 2 minutes. And while that 2 minutes is going, I'm going to play with my Crema. That's my 2 minutes done. Give this all a little stir. And let's check out our cheese. Yep, that could use a little more water too. Now that is going to be totally acceptable for the cheese, but tastes very cheesy. But I think that since I'm at home and we can just make this perfect, I'm going to pop this in the microwave for a few seconds. Oh, that is hot. 15 seconds is all I did. All right, so let's go ahead and dish up our meal here. Oh yeah, that's looking good. And let's put our beans and chili on, beans and beef on there. Oh yeah, this is gonna be good. Let's get a nice picture of that. All right, let's top this all off. Let's put our cheese on there, salsa on there, and our cream on there. All righty, let's give you guys a close-up of that. And let's dig in and see what it tastes like. My Burrito Bowl. Oh yeah, that is good. Oh yeah, John, you made a winner here. That's a good one. Oh yeah. Now, this all came back perfectly. The rice, the ground beef, the red beans. Remember, we used red beans instead of kidney beans. The salsa, the cheese, the crema came back, but it looks a bit powdery, grainy. It don't really taste grainy, but it looks grainy. And if I change, there's a couple things I'd change on this. But if we change it the way I'm presenting it today, I think I would go for the sour cream instead of the crema, because the sour cream, that sourness does add just that nice little touch, I think. I think I've already mentioned earlier in the video, that was a lot to go through to prepare a meal. And John and Bibbs likes to do it in one pouch in 5 minutes and eat. I'd just be tempted to combine all that together into like a casserole, um, including the sour cream. Probably put a lot more sour cream in it if I was going to do that. And maybe the cheese that I used, which was a cheese sauce type stuff, could substitute that out with real cheese and bake that as a casserole typey dish to make the bowl. And that cheese would melt and it would come back beautifully. And to be honest with you, that's how I would do it. But we like to see pretty pictures. And they say you eat with your eyes, so hopefully I prove to you that you can do that with freeze drying. This is really good. That tastes good in a tortilla wrap, like one of my viewers said from my last video. That would be good in a tortilla wrap. What was I going to say? Well, I can't remember what I was going to say, but this has come back beautifully. You can do it in separates like that. It's a lot of work, but this would have made a great casserole all combined together with grated cheese in it, stuck in the oven in a 9x13 dish, and then dished out. That would have been just as good. Because in the end, it all combines together anyway. But we did it this way, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I really enjoy it. Everything came back beautifully. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Is it better to make a casserole dish that one can rehydrate with the one pouch, add the water, give it a stir, let it sit, give it a stir again, let it sit, open it up and eat? Or is it better to put them all in separate different things and rehydrate them all separately and combine them on a plate and present it more presentable? I'd like to know what you guys think about that. Alright, so I'm going to finish this off camera. I thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next week. I got some nice exciting ones that I'm going to be doing kind of along with my videos in the background. One tray at a time, because I got 4 slots. I normally use 3 for my meals and 1 spare, and we're going to be working on something that's kind of like a fun project for me. So keep an eye out for that. I'll see you next week, and thanks for watching.